welcome to Easy English by Editing. And children, today we are going to do class 12 literature, a poem titled An Elementary School Classroom in Islam by Stephen Spander. Well, this poem depicts the social injustice and class inequality prevailing in the society. The poet talks about social injustice and class inequalities, denial of opportunities to slum dwellers. It is really regretting to know that still there are majority of children deprived of good education, and the fact that there is a gap between the rich and the poor. Stephen Spander writes a very simple and a clear style and wants to highlight the fact that the elementary school classroom in Islam is a poem that is depicting the children studying in the slum classroom and are suffering from social injustice and class inequality. What are they suffering from? Come on. Social injustice and class inequality. Class inequality. In the first stanza, the poet, Spander, describes the miserable condition of the children. The faces of the children are unlike of usual children of the school. Instead of being, happy and exuberant, the children in the slum classroom look like rootless weeds, withered and worn out. They are unclean and untidy, as they are malnourished, sick and hungry. Just as weeds are not wanted in the garden, so are these children unwanted by the society. They have their pale faces, their hair is uncombed. Children of the slum are suffering malnutrition. A tall, slim girl has her head bowed down as though she is exhausted physically because of malnutrition and emotionally because of poverty. The other children are also having the same condition. There is a boy who is thin like a paper, and he is also suffering from malnutrition. He has his eyes like that of a rat searching for food and betterment. He has his eyes like that of a rat searching for food and betterment. And then in the second stanza, the poet talks about, and describes about the dirty classroom. On the walls are displayed the names of people who have given donation. On the wall, the names of those people who have given donations have been depicted on the wall. The bust of Shakespeare is displayed in the clear background of the sky. Walls have pictures of the beautiful, Thailand's valley as well as map of the world. The children's eyes can only view a narrow road enclosed with a dull sky. It is quite a dreary and depressing place for the children. Then you ask, sir, what does the third stanza emphasize? Ask. The third stanza emphasizes the pensive poet. Yes, so children, what does the third stanza emphasize? The third stanza emphasizes the pensive poet who suddenly turns belligerent, aggressive, and feels that Shakespeare is wicked. This is because he misleads the children. He shows them a beautiful world of ships, sun and love, which is not only unreal for them, but has a corrupting influence on the children and instigate them to steal and try to escape from their cramped holes. The existence is indeed very sad. These, emancipated children are so thin that it appears that they are wearing only skins. The spectacles they are wearing have glass which has been broken and mended. Their entire appearance reeks of their deprivation. The poet shows his outrage and tries to bring out certain, appeal for their betterment. Finally, in the last stanza, the poet reveals the appalling truth. What does the last stanza reveal? The poet reveals the appalling truth that there can be no change for the better condition of the children unless a governor, a school inspector, or an educationist or a visitor comes to the school. There will be no change in the condition of the children unless the governor, an educationist, or a visitor comes to the school. The map in their classroom is the only medium for the children to view outside. Otherwise, they are just confined to the holes, the cramped room. The windows of their classroom shut then and is confined completely from the outside world. The window of their classroom is completely confined from the outside world. The poet next appeals to those people who are in power to liberate the slum children from the horrendous, and gory life that they are leading. He also exhorts the people themselves to break open these windows which appear to have, scaled the fate of the children. He also appeals to the people to break the boundary between the rich and the poor and make them avail the facilities, educational facilities that the other children can do. The poet earnestly desires that each and every child should be able to enjoy the facility of education. They should also be able to, learn from nature around them. Spender ends the poem on a positive note as he expresses his, belief that people who are ignited by the spirit of knowledge and learning are the ones who create history. It is the moral, liability of everyone to break the barrier between the rich and the poor, and provide educational facilities to these poor children. Then only the life of our society will be meaningful. Therefore, we find that in this poem there is an appeal for social justice, and there is always a cry against class inequality. Now, in a very brief, I am just going through 2 or 3 questions. Let us see the questions now. The very first question is that what are the children compared to? The children have been compared to rootless, weeds. A thin boy is compared to a paper because he is malnourished and his body is as thin as a paper. Next question. Why do you think the tall girl is sitting with a weighted down head? I think the tall girl is sitting with a weighted down head because she is sick and exhausted. Give 2 phrases which tell us that children are undernourished. The 2 phrases which tell us that the children are undernourished are, one is rootless weeds and the second one is rat's eye. The children's eyes have been compared to rat's eyes just simply because they are undernourished. And they are, they look like rootless weeds. How do the children of the slum look like? Rootless weeds. So these are the 2 words which better describe that they are undernourished. Now, mention the poetic device in the second line. The second line, the simile is like rootless weeds. This is an example of simile. Now, 2 more questions, please. 2 more questions, direct questions. Let's come to direct question. Now, the tall girl, which her head weighted down, means the girl is exhausted and sick. Ill and exhausted. Yes, the tall girl with her head weighted down means the girl is ill and exhausted. The paper swimming boy with rat's eyes means the paper swimming boy with rat's eyes, that shows that the boy is undernourished. He is thin, hungry and weak. Am I right? And the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones mean, select that. The stunned, unlucky heir of twisted, bones means, what does it mean? That the boy has an inherited disability. He has inherited disability from his parents. Or forefathers. And the last question, the children's faces are compared to rootless weeds just because they are ill-fed. Selected. The children's faces are compared to rootless weeds just because they are ill-fed, they are undernourished, thus we come to the conclusion of this poem, An Elementary School Classroom in Islam, which highlights the two important themes. One is class inequality and the second one is social injustice. Thank you.